looking at the cost of living in South Africa and Africa at large. And then we saw that the job market also was suffering a great strain, where people were losing jobs at a great number, and those who had to hold on to their jobs had to take pay cuts. And then we realized, how do we fix this? And then we had power outages and all of those things. That's when we came and said, maybe let's start with mobility, where we can come up with something that is going to be innovative enough to help our people in Africa to travel at a very cost-effective manner and safe also for the environment.
Yes.
That's where it all started.
Which is why then you went back to agility. But talk to me about the aspect of 100% manufacturing a vehicle in Africa. It is a first of its kind. But were you a bit scared into by just the thought itself? Because, I mean, in 2018, and you want to do 100% made in Africa, that is a feat by itself, Mandalamba.
Yeah, it's a problem in our continent, Simba, because we don't have a support of government for entrepreneurs in Africa. And it's so funny how you see most of the politicians would embrace these companies, like legacy companies who've been in the industry for years. When they launch a new vehicle or they open a new plant, the government officials are there supporting, providing this, but they never do it for local players who are coming from the same economies, seeking to turbocharge the economy. So it's not been easy for us. It has been very cost intensive, but by the grace of God, we managed to get where we are today, using our own capital with no external capital to get us where we are, with no government support from our country. It's only now we start seeing them a little bit moving in the right direction from last year.
So for somebody who's looking at agility, which will be then the benchmark for Africa's e-mobility, could you talk to me about some of the advances you've made since 2018 to date?
Okay, since we started, the biggest thing, and you asked me if Africa is ready for this, Simba.
Yes.
The biggest challenge we had was that in applying for what we call in our industry homologation, we have a problem with homologation, where governments take time to approve the systems of government, the processes and policies of government coming to the approval of homologation for players, which makes it easy for even other players to come. Because agility is not happy. I'm not happy that we're probably the only ones in the market who are pioneering this industry against large players who've been here before we were even born. So the strides we've made would have been better, and I don't believe that it would be just us here. It would be more players in the market if the governments were able to go back to their policy frameworks and open up doors for many. We've been able to go into market with our scooters in 2020. We launched 3 scooters called Agility Wild Grace, Agility Lodex, and Agility RTF, which is for students. That was in 2020. And we've also gone far in 2021 to launch electric cars, full electric cars, which is also 4-wheelers. We launched Agility at Last, which is a car selling at about $10,000. And then we launched a second car called Agility Bearer. And the third one is called Agility Go, which is solar powered. It's a solar powered car. And then on the green technology part of our business, we've launched over 200 products that are green tech and fully powered by AI.
Yes, pretty much. But let's talk about those numbers essentially. I mean, when we talk about e-mobility, we know the demand of the economies in Africa. When you look at agility, what do you really want to fit? What is this existing gap other than the entire conversation of we need to move into mobility? Yes, that is already known. But what is this gap that you really want to get into when you look at the entire sphere of e-mobility?
What we need to look at is that a day is going to come, Simba, where the button is pressed, that no more petrol cars on the road.
Yes.
At that time, Africa has to be at the forefront of that. We cannot wait and be late. When that time comes, jobs will be lost at a big number. And it is important for us to say, if then that's going to be the case, let's start now. Even now, there are jobs. We have an economic crisis, the largest depression in the history of the world that we've ever seen, that is kicking in right now with a large market crash expected to happen in the next few months. And when this happens, there's a lot of industries that will suffer, and some industries are suffering on their way out. And the jobs in those industries will never come back, since those industries won't come back in the new world order. So it's important for us to introduce new ways in Africa to create new jobs and opportunities for our people. That's the area I want to fit in, where we create more jobs, localized and sustainable jobs that AI can do, and make sure that we train our people to get there to a degree that it doesn't come to an end, that when AI takes over, it takes over jobs that even humans can be able to do, all because humans were late to upscale.
Pretty much, let's talk about numbers then for Agility. What are you targeting? Let's talk about financial year 2023. How many cars do we expect to come out of Agility and scooters to come out of your company?
Yeah, not to brag, I would like to also state that in 2021, we've seen our revenue grow up 1,600%. And we're hoping that this year we will see our revenue grow 1,600, maybe by a double. We can probably get a double. I'm hoping for a double this year. Number two, Simba, we also got to be approved to become a public company on the 1st of September 2022, as we are preparing for our listing. We're doing our IPO on the Johannesburg Stock Exchange, where our company is going public at a valuation of $20 billion, and we are raising $2 billion by disposing of 10% of the business, which is 100 million shares, new shares that would be issued for that capital raising. At $20 a share. So one of the greatest things we're looking forward is to raise this capital, because this is what will take us forward. And mind you, though, this is the first capital raising we've done. We are sitting on clean balance sheet. We've not borrowed money from anyone. We've been funding the business all the way till now. So that's one of the most exciting parts of 2023. Yes, we are looking to roll out vehicles. We are actually starting in Kenya. My team was on a call with our team, your Elizabeth Nasaka and Fred Muteti in Kenya on Monday, preparing for opening our store and launching in Kenya next month. We will be rolling out this year. Our target, it would be 10,000 vehicles, which are four-wheelers on the road, at least 25,000 scooters on the road in 2023.
Yes, what we've seen for majority of electric companies, they're also thinking about how they will be also be part and parcel of the servicing and maintaining of the tech and these batteries that are running these vehicles. Is that something that Agility is also looking into, especially into markets like Kenya? We've seen companies come in and then, besides launching the electric vehicles, they also launch the infrastructure for charging and then maintaining these vehicles as well.
I love your questions, man. You've got brilliant questions, I'm telling you. So we launched last year, Simba, our own charging system called Agility Power Boost 7, which is the fastest charging system in Africa. This charger can charge any car, any electric car, from 3.5 minutes to 7.5 minutes. Full battery from 0 to 100%. But for a car like Tesla, we look at like up to 15 minutes. All the other cars, you Jaguar, BMW, we can charge those cars within 7.5 minutes. Yes. So as part of our entry into the Kenyan market and spreading with the team there, we're looking to roll out infrastructure. Simba, it is the most difficult thing to convince people to migrate to electric vehicles and leave these combustion engines when there's no infrastructure. Someone leaves their home, has got access to probably 5 charging filling stations in a radius of about 1 kilometer, and whereas in EV you get it like 40 kilometers in South Africa from where you stay, or 20 kilometers, one charging point. So we're rolling out the infrastructure because it is pivotal to the adoption of electric vehicles in Africa.
Pretty much. Let me take
and just to add to that,
Yes.
on our battery.
Yes.
We've got scooters. Our scooters use the swappable batteries. And these swappable batteries, Simba, you can go to right now, we've opened 2 first dealerships of scooters in South Africa, in Cape Town on the 1st of December. 16 December, we're opening in 4 Ways Mall. So you can go to any, like we will be opening one in Kenya now. People who rent our scooters, who buy our scooters in Kenya will be, because we have rentals, we've got purchases. You can go to our dealership in Kenya and swap the battery free of charge. We don't charge for that.
Yes.
So it makes it easy for someone to know, I'm buying this scooter, I don't have to pay to charge this. When the battery is out, we will go to an Agility nearest dealership and swap the battery free of charge.
Interesting facts right there. Let's speak to the Kenyan fans who are listening to you right now and saying, when indeed then do I expect to land on an Agility e-mobility vehicle? What would you say then? What is the expected date that we would like to see Agility in the country?
We will be in Kenya. I can give you my word, I will be personally in Kenya in the month of February before the 20th.
Yes.
A date is going to be confirmed. I'm aware the team had a call on Monday. Unfortunately, I've been busy, so I've not had a chance to engage with the CEO of Agility Africa and our HR director, who are busy with this in Kenya. So I will be having a meeting with them today. I couldn't have a conversation with them over the past 3 days. So I will get a feeler of that. But I'm certain that the date is going to be for the 20th of February in
Yes.
Kenya, because we are also doing a launch, which we will invite even media like yourselves to come and see what we are bringing to the market. We will have a launch before we open the store, where we launch our products to the public.
I do promise I will be right there at that particular launch. Let's talk about policy, Madla. If indeed economies are talking about climate change and protecting the climate, your companies would like to think a company like Agility then will be at the central focus of any government that is serious about climate change. And it comes at a time when we have just completed COP27. Could you speak to me? Is it easier for you now, Mandla, than it was in 2018 for you to run your operations in South Africa? Sort of asking you then, is South Africa government and any other partners that you're looking within the economy embracing you as a company for now and the future?
It is. I'll tell you. And I believe this happened. Very, very important question. I love this question. So it is. It was hard when we started. The first thing is that I'm from a village. You come into the market and you're a village boy, and people are asking, who is this village boy? Where is he from? Who is his father? Trying to come and charter an uncharted territory here. So you have to fight those forces first, and then the government being reluctant to support you because they don't know where this is going to go, and they don't want to support something that one day they're going to regret. So I think things changed when we started launching the products, and mostly when we became a public company. Now people knew that we mean business when we became a public company. So it's much easier now. Matter of fact, we've got a support of our government even in South Africa now.
Yes, but what would you tell economies that have not really started the shift? Because the headlines that we're getting from majority of these companies that have been giving Africa their vehicles is that in the next 7 years, some are very serious to the point that they're saying by 2030, no vehicle other than electric moving out of their manufacturing points. What would you tell economies that have not been that serious then in starting these conversations on e-mobility? Are they going to get caught out? Is that what you want to tell them, Madla?
Yes, that's what is going to happen. And that's why I think an engagement with government in your platforms like this you guys have afforded me. I really appreciate it, Simba. You see where we are now. The button is going to be pressed. 2028, somewhere there. We're going to have a button pressed that no more petrol cars on the road.
Yes.
This is when the governments in Africa will start fiddling and trying to figure out the way. But I'm happy that there are governments who are even shutting out exportation of lithium, cobalt, and so forth that are very central for the manufacturing of electric vehicles. So if all governments could start now, right now we have a place where we call, I would call it the intersection of the new and the end, which pivots the end of the old and the beginning of the new world order. Where we are, the governments have an opportunity to play part in the oil industry with the old order. The governments did not have an opportunity. They had to regulate the industry and take whatever they could get from the oil industry. With EV, the government have a power to even control infrastructure. If you look at America right now, from the time of Trump to the time now we have Biden, they've been rolling out charging infrastructure, which is government owned. They know for a fact that when that time comes, the button is pressed, they are going to be collecting the revenue from the charging of the vehicles. But the governments in Africa, if they stagnate and still wait to see what the West says and what the West will do, it's going to be the same thing that is happening in the industries that are of the old order. So I do advise, we do actually, with the rollout of their policy framework in Africa. We have two governments that we are advising with that. So it's very important for governments to understand. Soon, they will not be able to take certain industries because those industries won't exist. Yes. Soon, we're going to have a labor market that is on a decline with the rise of AI. And the rise of AI is not going to remove jobs. The rise of AI is going to cause people not to fit in. And it won't be the lack of jobs. It will be the lack of people who can do the jobs to a degree that the companies decide, you know what, if humans can, then we will employ more AI. They teach more AI to do those jobs to a degree that people are going to go into a stage where they rely on grants, government grants, where there's no jobs, because people can't do those jobs. They were not prepared. They didn't upskill. They held on to the qualifications they have. That will not be much relevant for the world we're going into. So governments need to be in charge of the EV industry in terms of infrastructure. They need to play a big part in it, yes, because that's where most of the revenue will come from to fund these grants, these subsidies to support our people at the ground who will not be able to get jobs, because that's where we are going anyway.
Pretty much. Madalamba, would you need to take a minute to respond to this question? Because I've been given 2 minutes to get out of the studio with you. Now, the first question, therefore, Madalamba, is it's a good conversation that you're talking about AI. Does e-mobility push us into this area for AI? Or we can just talk about e-mobility by itself and that's it?
You can't talk about e-mobility and you don't talk about AI. Mm-hmm. It's one and the same thing. That's the green revolution. That's the new world.
Yes, pretty much.
So AI is driving e-mobility. Anyone who's going to get into e-mobility that is not driven by AI, they are still playing with water.
Like the way you put it. Last question now for, paint for me a picture of Agility then. You've been in existence since 2018. You're not even 5 years old. Let's not even look at 2023. Paint for me a picture of where you'll be in 10 years. What is this particular vision, if you can, in 45 seconds?
We've been blessed enough to spearhead our growth in Africa. We've opened our offices now in Asia. We are also growing in the US. We've appointed our leaders in the US and our offices in Dallas, Texas, in America. So I believe that in 10 years, we will be everywhere, creating jobs and supporting our people and bringing solutions to our people, not that solutions that are not driven by profit, but by purpose to transform the lives of our people for the first time in human life.
I couldn't have had this conversation at a better time. Madalamba, thank you very much for taking your time all the way from South Africa to join us this morning. That is South African time, I'd like to believe.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Yes, it is. Thank you so much, Simba, for having me. God bless you.
Anytime. Taking back to the time that he joined us all the way from South Africa this morning on Look Up TV across all your social media platforms. That's exactly what we have for you on this particular episode of Look Up Business. See you tomorrow for more business conversations. Good afternoon, Kenyan time.
done so much for me, I cannot tell it all. Nani kama wewe.
Do you need a dose of hope? If so, you are in the right place. We think of ourselves around here as hope